What's up, you guys? Welcome to Boss Level 8, where we make fun of movie critics. We just watched the third movie in the How to Train Your Dragon series, How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Honestly, people love this movie so far. It's certified fresh right now, which is pretty amazing. But not everyone's gonna love it, and this guy's not gonna love it. And we're gonna read his review, we're gonna pick it apart, and we're gonna give him a whole bunch of crap about it. But before we get started, if it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that little bell right next to it. That way you can get notified every single time we have a new video out. Now let's read this guy's review on How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Unfortunately, the purported last entry in this marvelous trilogy flies nowhere near as high as either of its two predecessors. I see what you did there. It doesn't fly as high because dragons fly. It's a good sign when you start so clever. Also, I'm pretty sure I purported in the toilet right before going into that movie because I didn't want to have to leave in the middle of the movie just to purport. Though still graced with the technical wizardry that have made the first two films soar, How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World is hindered by a thin, clunk exposition and an almost non-existent low-stakes plot, both sufficient to make it an ultimately unsatisfying experience. To give a movie crap about its writing after doing a bunch of crappy flying references in your opening statement is a little rough to hear. I'm just saying, this guy pats himself on the back so much that literally one shoulder doesn't have hair on it. But Hidden World is also an unfortunate example of how easily the wheels can fall off the otherwise well-made finished product if a cohesive plot does not hold the moving parts together. It's really disappointing that you moved to a cart with wheels, because that doesn't relate to this movie at all. To move from flying puns and obviously like implying the whole dragon thing to moving to carts with wheels is kind of disappointing. Especially when you could have used the fact that like the tail's all messed up on Toothless. That could have been the thing that was falling off instead of the wheels. You had an opportunity and missed it, and that's disappointing. And to be honest, I feel like your review is losing altitude. I apologize if that joke was messed up, but I'm just winging it. Dragons. A well-constructed narrative arc permits the viewer to immerse him or herself into the world of the movie. It defines the stakes and makes us care for the characters beyond simply their pretty renderings. So that's very informative. In case you don't know how movies and stories work, here's a small sentence. Maybe it'll help support what's following, I guess. The story lays out the expected trajectory of the characters and allows you to contemplate on another life when the lights turn on. You're saying all movies make you think about life once the movie's over? You have not seen Troll 2. Look, not every movie is a Kirk Cameron movie. Some movies you just watch and then the lights come on and you're like, and that was done. Should probably zip my pants back up. Dean DeBlois, who directed and wrote all three films, seems to have lost his way en route to the Hidden World promised land this time around. Man, you gotta stop using references from this movie to make your point. It is really annoying. That is not good writing. I mean, it's like good writing if you're doing a hip-hop cipher and you need a good punchline, but it's not good writing when you're making a review and you have time to write it and then look back and actually edit it. I'm sorry, that's annoying. From the outset, the film is as lost as Hiccup renders the members of his Viking civilization. Is this going to be every sentence? The overcrowding of the island, of Hiccup's own doing, by his insistence on refuging as many dragons as possible, seems a thin reed on which to rest the weight of the entire narrative. Perhaps sensing this, DeBlois writes in a rival clan that hires Grimmel to kidnap Toothless. That's too thin a plot? Yeah, that is too thin a plot. There's literally no stakes. It's just like, hey, we should move.
Weird.
Weird. Like if the whole movie was like, where are we gonna put all these things? And how are we gonna feed them? What a riveting film. If I had to pinpoint the central problem with How to Train Your Dragon 3, the blame would fall squarely on this unconvincing character. Grimmel is presented as a dangerous mercenary, a never-failed dragon killer who has made it his ruthless life ambition to slay these creatures, undeterred by any arguments in favor of coexistence. Actually, that's not really that true. He tried to eradicate one specific type of dragon. He was also a dragon killer in general, but like that was his whole thing. Just to clarify, because I mean, if you're gonna throw in references and puns and crap every 2 seconds and then just get facts wrong, I'm gonna probably point it out. Why would the rival Vikings hire a dragon killer of all people and release to him their own Light Fury as a way to bait Toothless? I don't know, by the plot that explains all that? It's explained. I don't want to explain it literally because that spoils the movie, but it's explained. Why, if he's so infallible, does Grimmel not once, but 3 times shoot to stun rather than kill the animal he purports to want to murder and proclaims never to have failed in doing so? This purporting word is making me uncomfortable. Maybe I have to purport. The problem is I don't want to go into every single scenario that you're talking about because I don't want to spoil the movie. But there's actually explanations every single time he sedates, like good ones. But again, I'm trying not to ruin this movie for people. I mean, he did a lot of like long soliloquy type of situations for sure. But I mean, they do that in Die Hard. You like that, right? If not, I'm even more worried. Villain boneheaded mistakes are one of the most frustrating plot failures because they are so easy to avoid. Yet, How to Train Your Dragon 3 does not seem interested in developing sound plot twists. I mean, to be fair, this movie didn't really have plot twists. It was pretty linear. A lot of it was really expected. They didn't like M. Night Shyamalan the movie or anything like that. It was a kid's movie that was super fun to watch, and the things that should happen happened. There's a moral. Weird. And why, as Hiccup himself points out in a rare moment of lucidity, does Grimmel use dragons himself when he so hates them? That makes complete sense. He's using them. You answered your own question. It's like, why do you have slaves when you hate people? I'm treating them as slaves. I'm not like being super nice to them. Again, this is not how to feed and house your dragon. At least his enslaved beasts are majestically animated, scorpion-like dragons, but one suspects therein probably lies the answer to these questions. The film sacrifices reason at the altar of technical wonder. Too steep a price to pay in this case. I just explained the reason that it makes sense, so like, now it has reason and wonder. I mean, if you want wonder without any reason, go to any theme restaurant in Vegas. Go to a small town strip club. Look at the Carl's Jr. menu. That is wonder without reason right there. Well, if we put bacon and shoved it inside the patty, then wrapped it in a chicken, and then deep fried it in pickle fat, is that even a thing? We'll make it, and then slap it on a bun with some butter and melted Velveeta. How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, could survive 1 or 2 of these peccadillos. It strains patience to the breaking point, however, with the lack of emotional empathy it engenders. The first 2 movies had sincere, profound, and important themes relating to outsider status, to the betterment of the picked-upon outcast, to the better natures that bring different species, red races, citizenships, together rather than apart. Yeah, meanwhile, this one just talked about how to deal with loss. Are you kidding me? It took like it literally grabbed like one of the hardest things for people to deal with and like had a really good moral lesson teaching children how to deal with, are you kidding me? Screw that stupid teaching kids how to deal with loss crap. Let's go back to the different races thing and just repeat that. They already did that. Stupid. Stupid. On its own, the refusal to revisit past topics is certainly welcome. The problem is that no real emotional weight is placed to fill this important void. As the film's plot fails to coalesce around a consistent set of tension in the first hour, this lack of reason to care drags it further down. Yeah, totally. I mean, the emotional connection between people and dragons, we were over that by the first movie. So why do they keep dragging that along? Oh, I said dragon. I didn't do that on purpose. Yes, I did. Which just means now I can be a film critic. By the time we reach the third act, in which How to Train Your Dragon finally finds emotional balance and purity, it is too little, too late. I have to agree. The amount of children who left, like, in the middle of this movie is 0. They were all still in there, actually. They had a great time and watched all the way to the end and loved it. And they'll probably go see it again. But too little, too late. I totally agree. Very blindly. I'm just gonna agree with you. For many viewers, the payout may well be worth the wait. The final chapter is indeed evocative of the brilliance of the early entries in the franchise. The adventure becomes exciting again. The humor flows back in naturally, and there is even a moment of beautiful, noble sacrifice that will take your breath away. That's really confusing.
Did he just neg us?
Yeah, I think you just negged us. Is that what just happened? The entire thing was how none of that was true, and then you just negated the whole thing in one sentence. That was really confusing. that doesn't make any sense. I just hate when it reaches a point where I just have to ignore everything else you said. It made everything else you said not important. How you wrapping this up? You just kind of ruined your entire thesis statement, so hopefully it's with a pun. All of it combines to make for another superb cinematic achievement in the movie's last 30 minutes, but one that, this time around, cannot overcome the sour taste left by the film's clunky first half. So the sentence before this negated everything you said before that, and then this sentence tried to make it so that like everything you said before that still kind of exists, except the last half hour of the movie made it okay and great. It's like eating an entire meal and the last bite made it worth it, but the rest of it sucked. But this bite is what did it. You know, the rest, absolute crap. Just dog food. It might as well have just been dragon food. Listen, since this guy got incredibly lazy and decided not to end his review with the dragon pun, I would like to ask you guys to put down in the comments on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of this guy's review? There's your dragon pun. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, we record this live on Twitch. You guys can hang out with us. A lot of your jokes that you make in the chat end up in the video, and it's super fun hanging out with you guys. So there's a link in the description for that. Click on one of the videos on the screen if you want to watch another one from us. Until we see you next time, geek out and game on.